And really what happened is when they changed our money from gold and silver to banknotes, they actually changed our money from evidence of wealth to evidence of debt. Now, you don't have to use gold and silver to have money representing wealth, but that's the two principles. Money can either represent wealth or it can represent debt. Money is nothing but a medium exchange. It's just something that you use to make barter simpler. That's all it is. John Maynard Keynes said the surest and subtlest way to destroy the basis of any society is to balk its currency. It engages all the hidden forces of economic law in the side of destruction, and it does in a manner that not one man in a billion will ever diagnose. And what that means is, and the only way you can debauch currency is change it from evidence of wealth to evidence of indebtedness. And that's what they did to our currency, and of course you can clearly see that's exactly what it's doing. It's just destroying this nation. I mean, everything is just going to rack and ruin, yet the people have been as productive as any people in any time in the world, history of the world, that we've been as productive. And we started out with the gold and silver coins. I don't have any gold coins, but I do have some silver coins. And these were about the actual weight of what the 1790 coins, they're just a little light. Now they've changed this one. It's the same size, but it's mostly copper nickel. Mm-hmm. At one time, you had the Eisenhower dollar. It was all silver, and then they changed it in the same way with the Kennedy half dollar.
What are the names of these coins?
I don't know the exact names of these. I don't think. This is the American Eagle dollar, the new one now that is a full ounce. This is more like the actual 372 and a quarter grains about, and I don't know the actual name of the thing that says Liberty on top. So they may have called it the Liberty dollar because that's the head of the Statue of Liberty, it looks like. And then this is the Eisenhower dollar, and they call it that because they only put, his picture, his face on it. And then you have the 50-cent pieces. First they was all silver, and then they made them copper nickel. And they're the same size, almost a little bit lighter, the copper nickel, and then they went to the Susan B. Anthony, which is the size of a quarter, but it's still a dollar. Now, that's not only debauchment, that's debasement as well, see? And these are the things that most people never really see and think about. Well, now, the Susan B. Anthony's, very few people wanted to use them because they kept getting them mixed up with the quarters. They'd throw them in as a quarter and not knowing it was a dollar. Well, obviously, if you take in and get paid $1 a coin and you sell $1 worth of product and you throw it in, first thing you go someplace else and it's only worth a quarter, you get upset. Well, then we go to the actual bills. Okay. Now, this bill here is a silver certificate. And it says right on the face that this certifies there is a deposit in the Treasury of the United States, $1 payable in silver on demand. Now, of course, what it meant was they went under the 1792 Coinage Act, and in other words, there had to be 371 and a quarter grains of silver deposited in the Treasury for them to issue this certificate. And remember what I told you a minute ago, that this got started when they wanted to try to get some more actual currency or gold and silver coinage in circulation. So what they did is when any gold or silver came in from another country, and there was a lot of it in bullion and there was a lot of it in coins, different kinds of coins. So what they did is they took them to the mint, and then they weighed them and assayed, and then they paid you. They gave you $1 certificate if it was 371 and a quarter grains. They give you one if it was more. So then that's how the silver certificate converts to circulation. And then we have a gold certificate, which is basically the exact same thing, only they put a gold seal on it, gold colors. But it's the same thing. It says this certifies there has been deposited in the Treasury of the United States $10 in gold coin payable to bearer on demand. So then if we go on down through them, as you will start out with, we first started to get them a lot of it. Now this is national currency. Abraham Lincoln in 1863 established the national banking system. And so that's why this has a national currency on it. And there is one thing that was very good about this kind of currency, is because they did a study in the early 1800s, and they determined that we had the most uniform currency or money system of any country in the world had ever had, because all your bills were uniform. Now, when Jackson shut down the second central bank, then they took out all the uniform currency that flowed from the central bank, and all went to state bank currency, and then all your currency was issued by individual state banks. Well, then they all had different colors, different weights, different sizes, different shapes, and so it was very confusing. It was just like trying to buy a used car. What's a used car worth? And they actually developed what they called the Blue Book, which was just like a used car book, that actually listed all the currencies they knew about and assigned a value to them. So when the merchant come in, and you come in maybe with a state bank note from some other state or some other place, and I come in with a different one, well, they'd look through their book and see how much good they should give you for each one. Just like you go to the used car book, to see what the value of used car should be, high mileage or low mileage or whatever. And then, as you saw originally, all these bills, this one here was issued by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and it said the Federal Reserve Bank of New York will pay to the bearer on demand. Now see, this was nothing but a promise to pay. They wasn't giving you the silver, the gold, or nothing else. They was promising to pay you, but these would never back by more than 25% gold. I mean, they never had the full amount. They never could have actually give you the the actual dollars. And of course, remember, the dollar here was called the 17. Was by law was 370 quarter grains of silver, or 24 point something, I think, grains of gold. I can look that up. I don't have that on top of my head. And so that's what the dollar was. But nobody ever traded with them. They didn't loan them. They didn't even have them to loan. They just loaned you the promise to pay. Well, then as time went on, we'll see again, here's the national currency note. Now this tells it just like it is. It's secured by United States Certificate of Indebtedness or United States 1-year gold notes deposited in the Treasury of the United States of America. And it says on its face, the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis, Minnesota will pay to the bearer on demand $1. Okay, now if you go on here, and we begin to really see some changes in the bills here, because now all of a sudden you notice, now this one says Federal Reserve note. Now these were issued and came into circulation after the 1792, after the 1913, when they established the Federal Reserve banking system. And now the notes have changed. They no longer says the issuing bank will pay. It says United States of America will pay to the bearer on demand $10. So what we have now is a promise to pay by the United States that actually the bank issued, but the United States agreed to pay it, make it good, not the bank. And we know which bank this was because it says Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis, Minnesota, right on the bill. Then we had the next change in the bill, and it's still a Federal Reserve note. Still says the United States of America will pay demand on the demand $10, and it says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and redeemable in lawful money. But they won't tell you what lawful money is anymore. At the United States Treasury or any Federal Reserve Bank. Now we go on down, and each one of these are $10 bills. It still says Federal Reserve note, United States of America will pay to the bearer on demand $10. This note is legal tender for all debt, public and private. Now, it never did, and redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. Now, that says exactly the same thing, except it's 3 lines instead of 4 and a lot smaller print. Now you go down, and in 1963, Kennedy started issuing these. President Kennedy, it says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Still says Federal Reserve note, United States of America, but no promise to pay. They now say that this is not a promise to pay, it's just the $10. So from here, it used to be a promise to pay. Now it's not even a legal promise to pay. It's not even a legal negotiable instrument, because a negotiable instrument by law has to have a promise to pay written on its face. Otherwise, it's not a negotiable instrument. But yet, these are negotiable instruments because we can use them to trade anything with, can't we? You can do anything with them. And that's how they change their money from wealth to debt.